We all know what has been said about John David McAfee. The accepted narrative includes purported tax evasion, murder mystery in Belize, and being hunted by the United States government.
Today, January 22nd, the IRS has convened a grand jury in the state of Tennessee to try IRS crimes of a felonious nature. Today, crypto community, we are at war.
But there's another story which involves his lineage, King Arthur's Round Table, Project Overlord, and the continued use of the term bigot by the military, which simply means British invasion of German-occupied territory.
Okay, a bigot is a person who is strongly biased towards their own race, religion, their own group, their...
In John's Border and Custom Control file, they had no photo of the John McAfee they were trying to capture and instructs the detainment unit to take his DNA. It remains a mystery how a man arrested so many times would never have been photographed, nor a DNA swab ever taken. Who is the man saying he is John David McAfee, and why is his photo in that file that claims no photo exists? Are inconsistencies in many government files I've looked at.
In my heart, that John had nothing to do with that murder.
When John David McAfee was shown sitting in a self-made Faraday cage, he said a few of the most chilling sentences to ever cross social media. I'm an escaped slave, and I will not be found.
Everyone is looking for this escaped slave. I will not be found, and I will continue to speak.
He was born on September 18th, 1945, on a military base of the 596th Ordnance Ammunition Company to an American father named Don McAfee, who was stationed there, and a British mother named Joan Williams. His father is from Roanoke, Virginia. The Forest of Dean was made known to the world by King Arthur's Cave, Stories of the Round Table, and later by Harry Potter. Once a royal hunting forest reserved for use by the Tudor kings, and having seen many battles, in Scotch Gaelic, the term assassin means from England. Dean of Forest was also made well known in Harry Potter. David McAfee was born there. Why are his probate files under the name Potter? Can a fictional character or book tell who a man is more than what we learn about that man through media? We've heard a lot about the infamous John David McAfee. Johnny Be Good is referred to as his nickname, his father's family name and forename, McAfee. And then the rest is blocked out. Mother's maiden name and forename, Williams, and the rest is blocked out. Nationality, or nationalities, United States, confirmed, yes. So, he is an American national. United Kingdom, confirmed, yes. The British national. Identity document provided. A British passport. He provided a United States passport. It also has the number listed. In the family crest documents for McAfee, it proves that the name itself is often spelled McDuffie. McAfee, M-C-A-F-I-E, and various other spellings. The motto of the McAfee clan is Pro Reg, or for the king. The oldest clan in Scotland, we are told, is the MacDonald clan. But the McAfees owned the island before the MacDonalds, and their first king was named Donald. Potter in the Bible is quite simply none other than God himself, and we are the potter's clay. I don't mean to suggest the character with the Liberty Bell tattoo and the heart tattoo and the tribal tattoo presented to us as John David McAfee is the Most High God. But I do find the term Potter and Roosevelt used to be curious. The tattoos are symbols of liberty, the heart, which can be attributed to Robert the Bruce, and a tribal symbol indicative of tribal belonging. In the prominent families of New York, McAfee is listed as McDuffie and under the heading of the Roosevelt family. It says the following: through the Bleekers, Barclays, and Gordons, Dr. Duffy can trace his descent to 6 generations of the Earls of Sutherland and over 20 generations of kings of England, Scotland, and France, a queen of Castile, and an empress of Germany. Says he has 6 doubles.
That John McAfee actually has 6 doubles.
The McAfee king had 6 sons. Names in and around New York are derived from Dr. Duffy's ancestors and connections, and some of the signers of the Declaration of Independence are listed in the entry. When researching the McAfee clan, it is said that the king had 6 sons, which could mean 6 generations of earls or referring to something else.
Do you understand the stupidity of that? Cryptocurrency is the golden fucking key to unlock your cage of financial slavery, people. And you're using it to scratch your fucking asses by exchanging it on exchanges. Cryptocurrency is not a goddamn market, people.
To go over his ideas on crypto, I'll say this. Bitcoin started as one thing and lost its privacy. McAfee goes over the reasons for this and also says,
formula called the blockchain. And the blockchain is the first technology that has not come from the bowels of the first world-changing technology that has not come from the bowels of a government black program within the military or from IBM, Microsoft, Apple, Samsung, or some other corporation. It came from the people.
The term bigot was used by the CIA in 1944 and military intelligence to describe British invasion of German-occupied territory. It was coined and used in World War II to hide movements and whereabouts of the people supporting the war. Starting conversations with, "Are you bigoted?" to determine if the caller had secret classification before the receiver of the call would speak. John David McAfee was not a bigot, unless he is in some files I've not found. He was called a tax evader, and he was called a murderer. And his customs file and red notice describes him as a drug addict. He admitted publicly a grand jury was being held against him, which is a trial without you being present, which means he had no trial. He was denied his rights to be heard.
Today, crypto community, we are at war.
In prison because the United States wants to use me as an example.
But taxation without representation is illegal, and the stamp tax was overturned. Why is not filing a crime at all? Is tax evader the current modern form for bigot? Let's look at the bigot information. Bigot was a code word within a code word, a secret classification beyond top secret. When planners adopted Neptune as the code word for the naval and amphibious aspects of the invasion, they realized that greater protection had to be given to any document or map that even hinted at the time and place of D-Day. They chose the odd code word bigot by reversing the letters of 2 words, that had been stamped on the papers for officers going to Gibraltar for the invasion of North Africa in November of 1942. The bigot maps and documents were created in isolated cocoons of secrecy. One was hidden in Selfridge's department store in London. Bigot workers entered and left Selfridge's via back door, many of them knowing only that they were delivering scraps of information that somehow contributed to the war effort. Others with bigot clearances worked on Allied staffs scattered around London and southern England. So restricted was the bigot project that when King George visited a command ship and asked what was beyond the curtain compartment, he was politely turned away because, as a Sentinel officer said, nobody told me he was a bigot. So the king himself was blocked from knowing about the maps and documents unless he identified himself as a bigot or someone else did. I began to wonder if calling someone a racist was the media's way of telling Defense Department powers to disclose information to the said bigot referent. But the code word bigot fell out of favor or was compromised. So if they can't use the word bigot, they have to use a similar word, a like word. Like Einstein says, everything is related to everything else. Everything is related. So those with anagram capability might come up with a word. But what about other words that either bear a similar meaning? Maybe like racist. But nothing was more secret or more vital to Operation Neptune than the mosaic of Allied intelligence reports that cartographers and artists transformed into the multi-hued and multi-layered bigot maps. On them were portrayed details of Hitler's vaunted Atlantic Wall, a network of coastal defenses designed to repel invaders. To discover what the Allied invaders faced, American, British, and French operatives risked their lives, and sometimes gave their lives, in the process of filling in the bigot maps. Revelations about Normandy's undulating seafloor came from frogmen, who also got sand samples on beaches patrolled by Germans. Such bigot map notations as anti-tank ditch around strong point or hedgehogs 30 to 35 feet, 9 to 11 meters apart, were often the gifts of French patriots. French laborers conscripted by the Nazis paced distances between the obstacles or kept track of German troop movement. A house painter hired to redecorate German headquarters in Caen stole a blueprint of Atlantic Wall fortification. Here's a picture of the Utah Beach South map. Top secret bigot, La Madeleine. This is available online. Though it was said that they stopped using bigot lists and stopped using the name at all, as late as 1973, the CIA is still mentioning them in their memos. In one memo, it starts with talking about the bigot list and ends with the following cryptic sentence: "It may be better to do away with bigots entirely." What did Stansfield mean by remove the bigots entirely? And how would the CIA achieve the suggestion? Stansfield also suggests in 1973, it may, however, be possible to put bigots on a more formal and regularized basis and overcome the weaknesses of the list. What does put these bigots on a more formal and regularized basis even mean? While it is said that in most previous generations have a belief in a great flood, and most have a belief in God's promises to mankind, perhaps studied what civilizations came before, our generation has missing men, the destroyed Tartarian buildings, the immortal bodies of the Romanovs, Hitler, Perón, the two Avas, and now John McAfee, who may themselves have been bigots, and these were just their code names. We have evidence that Ted Kaczynski's warning about technological slavery and John McAfee's warning about privacy and financial slavery are all entirely valid. While we continue to put on our tinfoil hats and research why Lee Harvey Oswald is defined as is our Cuba, why Jack is listed in every single Hitler file, if Kennedy and his son Jr. are not deceased at all, we might boil it down to Stanfield's chilling statement that it may be better to get rid of bigots entirely, so the world would never know the truth. We're an army of tinfoil hat soldiers invested in finding the missing bodies of men and women with mysterious deaths and circumstances. So the army of tinfoil soldiers also now have Stansfield's chilling words to consider. Maybe it would be better to get rid of the bigots entirely. And who did he mean? And how far-reaching were his words in a simple memo related to bigot? When John McAfee said he will not be found, was it because he was a bigot? Was the CIA involved in doing away with bigots entirely, or only the term bigot? And why was the term still being used years after World War II, if attributed to that time period? And why did Stansfield Turner not write it may be better to do away with the term bigot instead of suggesting to do away with bigots entirely, a class of people with top secret security clearance? John McAfee describes crypto as being the way out of financial enslavement, but warns against Bitcoin. He claims Bitcoin has no privacy anymore. We have no privacy with any email provider. He describes a lot without giving away the farm, though can an indoctrinated generation really listen? McAfee descends not only from the original people in America, the signers of the Declaration of Independence, and kings of England, France, Castile, and emperors of Germany, but he also may have been a bigot. What did John McAfee inform us of? Financial slavery, lack of privacy, and he won't be found. Is that why there's no death certificate? And in his Borders and Customs file, it says no photo was available of that John McAfee. Are you a bigot too? That's the question you should be asking.